But little did we know that in the years of 1999, 2000, and 2004, tragedy would rear its ugly head once again in the form of these three terrible abominations.
Party time, it's party time. Everybody's feeling fine 'cause it's party time. Party time.
This is art!
What a heavenly fragrance.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, buddy. I smell like us. Smell like us. Oh yes! Yeah, I'm sure that's not killing anybody.
Their names may change, but their evil lives on, and the whales are still humming.
And at this point, I hope they succeed if it means we don't get any more shit like this!
Yo, 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 look at my teeth. They're so sharp and white and neat.
Oh, God!
Some terror.
Help! I'm dead! Come help me! Help me! This isn't happening! No, I'm dead! And you're taking me to doggy hell.
The water is fresh, you can swim around. At the fish on tech, it's a real cool sound.
And we even get a fucking rape scene in this kids movie.
Let me go! Let me go!
Yeah! And, oh yeah, did I forget to mention that they rebuilt the fucking Titanic? Yeah! You've been wondering where it's been this whole time. And here it is in all of its unsunken, untragic glory. What, did you still think people died on this thing? This was fucking awful! They all were!
You guys aren't ready for this. No one is. But this isn't about us. No. This is about the world. Ladies and gentlemen, I regret to inform you that this exists. The animated Titanic television series! Just look at it! Just look at it! Stop the music, Siri. Just stop the fucking music. Just stop the fucking music, okay? This is not a joke. Okay, this is not a fucking joke, man. This is not a fucking joke. I did not want to make this video, okay? I shouldn't have to make a video about this, okay? But this exists. This is really... You may think I'm crazy, okay? And I don't blame you for thinking I'm crazy, but I assure you, this is a real thing. This is a real fucking thing. It really is. So, this is the official animated Titanic movie webpage on Mondo TV, The Dream Factory. Yeah, just look at it. It looks so fucking weird. Like, what are these two kids? Who are these two fucking children? They look like rip-off characters from Totally Spies or something. What's this thing? What the fuck is that? And then you have this fucking ghost thing? What's that about? So the show's called Fantasy Island. That's like the most generic name for a TV show I've ever fucking heard in my life. And look at these. Look at the other photos they have to show us. Just more pictures of those two kids. And look at the description for the show here. I'll try to zoom in on it. It's a bit blurry, but basically, in the magical setting of an enchanted island, what of all things but the infamous ship Titanic happens to wind up in a nearby cove? And who do we find on the premises but our friends from the Legend of Titanic saga? Like, look at that. Yeah, even the fucking webpage is confused by this. Like, wait, this is a thing? This really exists? The gang's all here. Elizabeth, Don Juan, the mice Smile and Top Connors. Wait, wasn't the other mouse named Ronnie?
It's a pleasure to meet you, Stella. Top Connor is at your service. Oh, thank you, Ronnie. That's very kind of you.
I thought Smiles was the dog.
Calm down, Smile. Even cats eat mice.
A clever dog named Fox? What? Chantilly, Fox's sweetheart, and then there's Tentacles. I thought his name was Audie. They changed his name back to Tentacles? What the fuck? The 7-year-old child octopus who had previously saved the ship's crew. Unfortunately, the baddies Vandertilt and his assistant are here as well. Fantasy Island is an animation. Fantasy Island is an animation that takes us on a thrilling ride from the Kingdom of Atlantis all the way to an island unlike any other. Dear God, I'm not making this shit up. This is a real fucking TV show. I cannot believe this is real either. This is insane. This is absolutely unbelievable. Ah! This exists. I am not kidding when I say that this exists. I myself am having trouble with the fact that I know that this exists, and I feel the need to share with my fellow man that this exists. That's all you need to know. No more video. Goodbye. But no, seriously, what the fuck were they thinking? Italy, what were you thinking? North Korea, what were you thinking? Actually, don't answer that question. I know exactly what you guys were thinking. So, Fantasy Island is not a fantasy, but reality. Fantasy Island is the animated Titanic television series. And it blows my mind. It's bad enough that we have not just one, not just two, not even just 3 animated Titanic movies, but now we have a show. An actual animated television spin-off to the misadventures of the Titanic Squad. I might as well call it that because that's pretty much what the show is. Okay, so let's ask ourselves the first real question here. Outside of being a really, really, really dumb idea already, I gotta ask. What in the fuck could you possibly do with an animated Titanic series? No, seriously, I want to know. This isn't like a green eggs and ham situation, is it? Where you genuinely surprise us with a really good show all of a sudden? I mean, were these movies really that popular? Were kids in Italy and North Korea just begging for more of this story? Yeah, I understand the kids in North Korea because they ain't got much else, but damn, can y'all at least set your standards up just a little higher? Almost like your lives depend on it? Actually, what am I saying? Your lives probably do depend on it. So, what is Fantasy Island about anyway? Well, our main characters from Tentacolino are back. That includes Donnie, Elizabeth, the mice, the dog, and his girlfriend, the rain cloud, the ghost pirate. Did I forget to mention that their thing now?
Well done, Bosun Ula. Now we can go back to the cave in peace.
Welcome aboard. It's always a pleasure, Captain Francis. I want to kill myself.
So this show was produced and animated by Mondo TV, who I'm sure some of you have heard of at this point. For those of you who haven't though, Mondo TV is responsible for a lot of crazy, batshit TV shows and movies, mostly acting out as North Korean propaganda. You thought Disney's version of Pocahontas was bad? You ain't seen shit, Jack. But if you want to see more of what I'm talking about, either watch Saberspark's videos on them, or just let me know in the comments below if you want me to review them someday. Can't promise I'll get them out before I die of coronavirus though, just letting you know now. So the funny thing about Fantasy Island is not a lot of people outside of Italy or North Korea really know about this show. Can't say I don't understand why, but Mondo TV's actual YouTube channel just suddenly and inexplicably uploaded the entire series on its page. So, yeah, go ahead and check it out yourselves if you want some brain damage. I'll even leave a link in the description below. But you can't sue me for any damages to your mind, okay? The choice to click that link is yours and yours alone. I ain't no supreme leader. So from what I was able to figure out about this show is that it did officially come out sometime between 2010 and 2011, meaning that it came out approximately 6 to 7 years after Tentacolino came out. Didn't Frozen take 6 years to give us a sequel that I'm pretty sure not a lot of people wanted anymore? Even with a great movie idea, taking that long to give audiences a sequel of any kind is kind of a dumb move because by the time it finally came out, people's interest would have finally waned. Now, of course, that's not always the case. The Tangled animated TV series came out 7 years after the movie did, and that surprisingly was pretty good. But let's be honest with ourselves, people, okay? Did humanity actually need a Titanic animated television series? Did we?!
I'm a liar, I'm a cynic. I'm a sinner, I'm a saint.
Episode 1 is just a recap. I guess having a series come out 6 to 7 years after your movie did, it means you gotta bring your audience up to speed. But in this case, it probably could have been a good opportunity to just tell your audience, yeah, remember all that crazy shit involving the Titanic and sharks and moon magic and Atlantis and shit? Yeah, that never happened. It was all just a fever dream, just a dash of coronavirus. You imagine the whole thing. We're starting all over from the ground up, and that's how it's gonna be. Sony Spider-Man? What's Sony Spider-Man? I've never seen Venom in my whole life! So the first thing you'll notice right away is that the animation is, well, fucking hot garbage. I mean, just look at it. Fucking look at it. This Flash animation is so fucking awful. It actually makes Big Hero 6's series look like Miyazaki in comparison. Next thing you'll notice is the voice acting. So I couldn't figure out if anyone came back from the movies for the show, but let's just say that some of them didn't.
What a surprise!
A surprise? What have you been thinking about?
I was thinking about the Titanic sinking using my imagination.
What? The Titanic? I do remember, and that is why I want to remind you that what happened was not easy for me. You're just making fun of me because I'm young and I can't count.
Why does Tentacles sound like a kid with Down syndrome who inhaled a helium balloon? And since when was he Italian? I know that this is an Italian show technically, but when has he ever been Italian in the movies? He wasn't!
I'm not a hero, I'm just a kid. The truth is, this terrible thing that's happening is all my fault.
I swear, if something bad happens to my friends, I'll rip every tooth out of that shark and I'll make them into the most beautiful necklace you've ever seen.
So when the recap actually starts, we see that they took the footage from the movies and actually dubbed over them with their new awful voice actors.
After we've arranged for the iceberg to appear in front of the ship, we'll hold the rudder in our teeth, keeping her on course, thus making sure the crash happens right on schedule.
Sink the Titanic and you will become the most remembered sharks in all of history, he said. So I am here to tell you just how we're going to do it.
Why would you do this? They have the rights to the movie, so why not just play the movies? I know it was already awful, but now it's even worse. I got the feeling that this is just some really shitty English dub. I don't know when or even how they made an English dub, but however they did it, I really wish they didn't. But hey, at least Doggy Hell still makes an appearance. Yeah, they still say that in this kids show.
This is real. I am dead, and you are bringing me to the hell for dogs.
That is not true.
Still gets me every time. And when the episode ends, Donnie just makes a guess, and apparently, Smile's girlfriend is pregnant! And it turns out he's right. The white dog is pregnant with puppies.
You rascal. Did you decide to have a family? Excellent choice, my dear. This is one of the nicest beings I know.
What? What? The fuck?
Donnie literally just guesses and is somehow right, despite having absolutely nothing to tell him that at all. Episode 2 is a perfect highlight of everything wrong with the show. So to explain why this show is so bad, outside of the obvious moral reasons, of course, let me set up a story beat for you real quick. Our main character wakes up, heads downstairs for breakfast, probably has a conversation with a friend or a family member or whatever, and after all that, takes off to the real story. That usually takes somewhere between 1 to maybe 3 minutes, depending on the pacing of the show or movie itself and the writing. But how long does it take Fantasy Island to follow this simple story beat? Let's break it down, shall we? So the episode begins with Smiles waking the mice up for the day. Then we have to see Smiles search for the mice as opposed to just seeing them right away. Then he finds them and questions why they're using matchboxes as opposed to the beds. The mice decide to wait a good while before actually answering his question because I guess they just don't feel like it yet.
Why are you sleeping inside those boxes?
There. Well, because all of this is much too big.
Then he decides to race the mice to the top of the boat. Oh yeah, did I forget to mention they're living on the Titanic now? I guess the Titanic is actually a part of the story this time. Then they reach the bow of the ship where Smiles tells them to look at something. Then the mice have a fake argument with Smiles about waking them up before even looking at what he wanted them to.
Did you even see the goats?
I thought it was something more serious. Although the view is nice, but I don't think it's reasonable that you woke us up for some goats.
You ungrateful little mouse. Yes, I woke you up because of some goats, but why don't you think a little bit? Goats make milk, and milk makes cheese. Guys, I'm being serious.
Yay! Cheese!
I want to kill myself!
Then the rain cloud shows up, again that's a thing, and is pissed off about people being on the island. Then the rain cloud blows them off and they fall into the ocean. How this doesn't kill them, I have no idea, but whatever. Then they decide to swim to the island. Then they get tired and ask some fish nearby for a ride. Then they make it to shore, and then finally they can sit down and have breakfast with our main characters. Like I said before, usually that kind of story beat takes about 1, 2, maybe 3 minutes to do right. It's never that long. But how long did it take for Fantasy Island to do that? 14 minutes. 14 out of a 26-minute long episode. That's literally more than half the fucking episode. That is insane. And that, my friends, is the biggest problem with this show. It's not just because the premise is already such a terrible one. It's not just because the animation looks like somebody sat on a second grader's drawing and then tried to animate it using Adobe Flash. It's because when it comes down to everything this show is, it is just so god damn slow. This show drags like an old woman's bosom. You need more than a crane to get this thing off the ground. This shit drags so much. Where do you think the Grand Canyon came from? It came from this. Fantasy Island made the Grand Canyon, okay? What, all that erosion bullshit? Government conspiracy, man. It's all a hoax. I'm telling you guys, when it came to watching all 26 episodes of this show, I was legitimately ready to blow my brains out. Not from being insulted, or from the piss poor writing, although don't get me wrong, that was pretty bad too, but mainly because this show is dull. As dull as clay. I could watch grass grow from a newly painted bedroom and still have a better time. Watching these characters take forever to do literally anything is insufferable. This show is what's waiting for Harvey Weinstein when he goes to hell. He's just gonna sit in front of a TV and watch this show on loop for eternity. I honestly can't think of a worse punishment than that. You wanna watch the mice go treasure hunting? Well, I hope you're ready for 11 minutes of that. How about the Ghost Pirate and Rain Cloud trying to blow up a house because they want Donnie and Elizabeth off the island? By the way, why are they building a house? They have the fucking Titanic to live on. Well, guess what? Guess what should take literally 30 seconds to do? These assholes find a way to take 7 minutes to do that. 7 fucking minutes to blow something up. I'm not even joking. They're literally like, yeah, good job, Captain. We destroyed the house. No. We have to destroy the parts of the house that we didn't blow up to make sure they can't rebuild it. I'm not even kidding when I say that. They literally tell you the excuse they have to waste even more of your time. Just look.
You're right. What a headache this is, but you're right. I have to get rid of everything. The humans must understand that they can't do what they want on my island.
The whole show is like this, guys. Just characters taking their sweet time doing literally anything just to meet that 26-minute runtime. You can tell that the writers had literally no idea what to do with this show. I mean, seriously, I will ask again. What do you do with Titanic, the animated television series? What could you possibly do with that? Well, this goes to show that nothing. You can't do anything with this premise. There is just nothing to it. A movie? Sure, absolutely. A video game? Possible, depending on what kind of game it is. But a TV show? No. Just no. It is the stupidest premise ever, and the way this show paces itself really speaks volumes. When you need to have everything take its sweet-ass time just to do literally anything at all, even the most simplest of tasks that shouldn't take 1 minute to do, you know you have no ideas whatsoever. And we haven't even gotten into the meat of the show yet. Oh my god. So, to sum up the show's story, it's basically our main characters living on the island, and that's pretty much it. There really is nothing else to say about that. Our main characters live on an island. They build a house on the island, even though they have the freaking Titanic they can just live on, have kids on the island, and that's really about it. Oh, and sometimes they'll fight off the sharks and Vandertilt sometimes. Yeah, that happens. Funny how all of them supposedly forgot about Atlantis and stuff at the end of the last movie, but now they all just suddenly remember? Yeah, we never get an explanation for that, by the way. They just remember for no reason at all. Can you tell from the tone of my voice that I really just don't care? Because this all just sounds so fucking stupid. It's literally nothing! It's just a bunch of loud noise and colors on a screen meant to keep your prisoner insane. Keep your kid insane. Keep your kid quiet. Keep your prisoner insane. Remember, guys, this is a North Korean show, and it all makes sense suddenly. This show is literally just a torture device, I bet. There's no way around it. No one would willingly watch this all the way through unless they were, I don't know, fucking crazy or something. Honestly, though, it amazes me how bad this show gets. When it's not being dull, it's just being lazy. There are a lot of technical issues with this show as well. Animation quality will shift on a dime. Sometimes characters will move their mouths without any dialogue at all.
Commander, I need to be in contact with His Majesty.
Say it again, say it to my fucking face.
Characters will just do random things that make no sense in the moment.
Please, Francis, I have a great idea. Let me do what I want, please.
Tell me then, sweet dear Ula. What would you like for us to do to the humans?
I honestly don't think I've ever seen such a lazy show before. What the fuck am I looking at right now? What is this? Is this where the animation cell was supposed to go and they forgot to put it in? But they left this thing here? What the fuck? Wait, what's the date there? January 13th, 2011? So this show did come out in 2011. Well, I'm sure glad these editors left that in there for a full second so that I could see that. One thing that was surprising, admittedly, was the fact that later down the road of the show, the King of Atlantis, his gloriousness, actually starts letting Donnie and Elizabeth leave the island. Yeah, I'm not even kidding. Sure, they don't do it much, but they are allowed to leave now and see their families again. As a matter of fact, when Donnie and Elizabeth's son is born, the king himself sends Pingo, or in this show, he's now called Pingio. You gave Tentacles his own fucking name back, but then you just go and start calling this asshole Pingio? What the fuck is wrong with you people? So, to reward them for their forced loyalty, the king actually sends Pingio to retrieve Donnie and Elizabeth's families to the island so they can see the baby boy. And not one single person seems to be mad about being lied to or believing that their friends or family were dead. Just like our main characters, they are perfectly fine with them being trapped on this island forever. What the fuck? Jeez, there's so much gay energy here, you can make a Clay Aiken album out of it. Honestly, when they do leave the island, nothing really happens. The kids go to see their grandparents, and nothing happens. Vandertilt and his sharks stalk them for a while, but nothing happens. One of the grandpas, I don't remember which one, goes hunting for a rabbit, and the kids try to stop him because, I guess, hunting is wrong all of a sudden in the 1910s. Do you see why the show is so fucking boring yet? Because nothing interesting happens! It's just a bunch of nothing that keeps building up until eventually it results in even more nothing! The only thing that actually happens of any interest is in the last 3 episodes of the show. In episode 24, the daughter, whose name I don't remember or even care, is kidnapped by Vandertilt, and the brother uses his invisibility bracelet to follow them? Okay. In episode 25, he and the Atlanteans save her and take her home. And in the very last episode, because humans were getting suspicious of something I don't even remember, they decide to take the Titanic back to New York and give it back to the humans. Because that won't raise any questions at all, now will it, Your Majesty? Also, the sharks are frozen and left to sink to the bottom of the ocean, even though ice floats. And Vandertilt actually gets brainwashed into becoming the king's personal servant.
The coffee is coming, Your Majesty.
He's harmless. He would not hurt anyone.
Holy shit, that's a pretty fucked up punishment. I mean, sure, he was just a whale-hunting, one-dimensional villain, but still, holy shit. Oh, and to truly wrap up the show, the King of Atlantis, I shit you not, uses his powers to bring the Ghost Pirate back to life. Yeah, the King of Atlantis is able to bring people back from the fucking dead. Just like that. Why didn't he do this sooner? Because he's a fucking asshole who just does whatever the fuck he wants for no rhyme or reason, that's why. You can't have anyone come and visit you. Oh wait, never mind. No you can. I've changed my fucking mind.
But couldn't we send the submarine to pick up the families and friends of Don Juan and Elizabeth?
Pimgio, are you crazy? That's an awful idea. And you call yourself a good advisor?
I have nothing to really say about that scene. That was just genuinely kind of funny. I love the fact that when Donnie and Elizabeth have their kids, the King of Atlantis decides, for some reason, to name them the successors to his throne. Yeah, these 2 kids who are not even related to him at all are just named the heirs to the Atlantean throne. These kids will rule with an iron fist someday. Why them, though? Why not just have your own kids, you weirdo? You got a pretty good-looking wife over there who wears her bra outside of her clothes for some reason. Why don't you just boink her? For those of you who are going to be smartasses in the comments and are going to try and defend this guy's decision, first of all, why are you defending anything involving this show? Second off, he never explains his reasoning. Big shock, I know. He just decides, yeah, they're pretty much mine now. Even though he could easily just, bow chicka wow wow with this.
You must be grateful. You can see your parents, your friends, and anyone you want, but you cannot speak with them. The security and confidentiality of Atlantide are above everything else.
This is why the show has 26 episodes. Because if the show trimmed all of the fat in this show, it would probably at the longest be 10 episodes long. This show pretty much has no story here. Despite the fact that they try to have actual story progression and character growth and stuff like that. Speaking of which, why does the son look like a young Jim Hawkins? Why does the daughter look like a background character for Totally Spies? Why is the daughter wearing jungle clothes when everyone else is wearing normal clothes? What the hell's that about? That's really weird. I really don't know what else to say at this point. It's not just a terrible idea. It's a terrible idea with an even worse execution. It's a weird show, don't get me wrong. It's Mondo TV, it's gonna be weird. But honestly, it's nowhere near as weird as some of the other works that I've seen from them. So I don't think this show is worth watching, even in a so weird you have to see it kind of way. Even if you get to something worth seeing, the show takes forever to get to it, and even then, imagine sitting through this. For 26 long episodes. Trust me, guys, you do not want to go through that kind of hell. I never want to watch this show again. Ever. I'd rather go watch something good, like, say, Beastars? It's finally on Netflix, guys. It looks pretty good, honestly. This show is the broad definition of tedious, with no redeeming factors for better or for worse. It's god-awful, but for all of the wrong reasons. I kind of hoped when I discovered this show, it would be like the movies and be just an utter train wreck of insanity, but really, it's not. I mean, sure, it's got its moments, but they're too few and far in between to make it worth the journey. Sometimes a show will get better as it goes along. My Hero Academia and BoJack Horseman are pretty good examples of that. But this show, which started off so terribly from such a bad idea already, just got worse and worse and worse. There really is nothing else to say. I mean, you guys are smart, right? You guys can figure it out pretty quickly how bad of an idea this is, right? I mean, just say it with me, guys. The animated Titanic television series. Let's say it one more time for good measure. The animated Titanic television series. Just rolls right off the tongue, doesn't it? You know, an animated Titanic movie, in the right hands, could have actually been something quite amazing. I mean, okay, hear me out on this hot take for a second. Animation is not a genre, as I'm sure many of you already know. It is simply a medium, a style, if you will. There's plenty of great animated movies out there based on something meant mostly for adults. Take Grave of the Fireflies, for example. This movie, despite being animated, focuses heavily on World War II, the bloodiest conflict in human history. And despite all of that, it's been heavily acclaimed by just about everyone. Then you have Valiant, a stupid, insulting, god-awful, really unfunny piece of shit movie that's also animated and also based on World War II.
Fly, English pigeons, fly!
See, it's not the setting itself, guys, it's how you handle the setting. Imagine if James Cameron's Titanic was an animated movie, but there were no changes to it at all. It's still the same movie, script-wise, character-wise, hell, even actor-wise. Literally the only difference was that it was animated. Do you think people would hate it? Probably not. Sure, it wouldn't have gone on to become the most successful movie of all time for a while, but I think eventually it would have gone on to become an underrated classic. Because the movie Titanic is actually pretty good. When I hear people say that they're upset that they live in a world where 3 animated Titanic movies exist, I laugh along too because, yeah, those 3 movies are genuinely terrible. But at the same time, I feel kind of bad because I'm pretty sure there's someone out there who could probably do this idea pretty well. I mean, sure, it probably won't happen for a while, if at all, but if someone actually wanted to make a genuinely good animated Titanic movie that gave the sinking of the Titanic the respect and dignity it deserved, I say why not give them a shot. If it's possible to make a good Titanic movie, then it's possible to make a good animated Titanic movie. Because there's pretty much no difference in my opinion. You just need the right people with the right attitude about it. Animation can tell any kind of story, be it a comedy, a drama, a war story, a hero story, any story. And the Titanic is one of the most famous stories ever. There's countless books, documentaries, movies, even video games about it. And if that isn't a testament to how famous the Titanic has become over the years, I don't know what is. But no, seriously, this show is hot fucking garbage. Speaking of which, hey Bob's show, guess what? This show ends with everyone returning to New York, so it's kind of possible for the show to end the same way that the first movie did. So your theory's kind of bunk now. It exists. You're welcome.
Say goodbye.